Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I want to talk about some of the hidden economics of the lawyer situation right now because there's a lot of misinformation, and I was happily slash sadly reminded of some of this with a friend's posting on Facebook, who is a friend lawyer of mine who graduated a year ahead of me. He works at a large medically related firm, and he oversees a lot of different paralegals as well as other types of lower level employees. And among his responsibilities are to take a look at some new hires in that sector. And he was just looking at lawyers applying for, just basic low level calling positions, including lawyers who had judicial clerkships. And, that kind of inside knowledge is just another hint as to what's going on. And this was in the state of Mississippi. Every state, is going to have a different little bit of a situation, what's going on, but generally speaking, that's really the case, and it's scary and sad. And so with that in mind, here's some things to look out for when you're doing your analysis of, but are these other people doing well in law and stuff like that? I think some of the big misconceptions that people miss on are that a lot of these people that are graduating law school are already either loaded or their parents are loaded. In other words, you could take a look very easily at either their Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts or something like that, and you're going to see that, okay, they don't own a business, they don't do anything other than that, they didn't, get a huge trust fund, but then you'll notice they have like nice cars, they're going on nice trips all the time. There's a lot of these people that are graduating from law school and their parents are just there to support them. And they may not even be like mega rich or anything like that, but if you don't have parents to support you financially for a year, in some cases 2 years, with housing or other types of things, it could be a very hazardous situation if you have to go into repayment, and that's especially the case if you're doing private loans. It's a little bit easier if you had like the federal loans to do deferment, stuff like that. But this is something that, no person who is, a lawyer, like at the outward facing kind of like, oh, look at me, price of law, is going to also mention, oh, hey, by the way, I'm living at home with my parents right now. Like, oh, yeah, I'm like, having to get, my parents to take care of most of my expenses, things, and stuff like that. Nobody wants to admit that, even though a lot of these people are. And then the other factor that a lot of people miss in the economics are those who have spouses. Yeah, okay, you might be a lawyer, you might be making some money doing legal work, but I mean, there are many cases, I can even think of a friend of mine who worked as a paralegal, basically a glorified legal secretary, for 6 months before he was offered an attorney position. Now, on the books, it's like, oh great, he's like working at a law office, but I mean, a realistic outlook on the circumstance is, wow, like you could spend a serious amount of time making very, for a lawyer, crappy pay, no distinguishing between you and even a high school graduate in some cases, if they've been working at a place for a while. And the only reason that they're able to do this is because they have, family support or possibly, spousal support. They have somebody else in their life, or not even spouse, steady relationship, whatever you want to say. And you have to look at those things. You have to take a look like, oh my gosh, like, okay, so this person is, clerking or something like that, maybe upwards 6 months, 8 months, a year out of law school, but maybe the only reason that they're able to live is because they have a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend who is also making money. So yeah, you can make your bills because you're able to have that support income. Or maybe they just happen to have family that are able to take care of them. And these are ghost economics that people don't consider. And from my experiences, and I have the reason I have a lot of understanding of these things, I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, is I've done a lot of fundraising before. I've done public relations undergrad with a focus on business, and in my fundraising experience working for both the school I was at and other people, I got to hear the stories from lawyers, recent grads about what's going on. So I knew what was going on all along. And I've even heard I don't know if I believe this woman, but one woman was telling me, who was working at a public defender's office, that she was brushing her teeth with soap. That's how poor she was. I mean, I don't know if that's true. It really seems exaggerated, but she sounded desperate on the phone. I mean, if she was acting, it was great acting. But nonetheless, there are so many ghost economics going on that people are missing out on when it comes to like, oh yeah, I mean, I hear there's some people getting employed. It's like, yeah, they might be getting employed for something between 10 and 20 an hour, maybe as a paralegal, maybe as something very introductory, entry level, maybe not even full attorney, or their payment is so low that the only reason they're able to do this, or they got the position, you know what I mean, is because they had a significant other that's able to make up the missing income. That's just it. I mean, that's the case for a lot of these people. There is this huge little X variable that people are missing out on. And that's the beginning factor that many people go to law school, tend to have been better educated to even get to that point. You may have had either, some sort of dedicated family or friend support, or came from money, because law school is expensive to begin with, and there's a huge barrier to entry that was able to get bypassed, especially before the first economic crash, because loans were cheap. After that fact, that's when law school applications start dropping off because nobody can afford it anymore. And definitely, if you're like poor, don't come from money or stuff like that, you better have a scholarship of some sort. I had scholarships and stuff like that. That's partially what allowed me to do that. But it's so scary how much people miss in the total picture. And you're not going to hear it because of the pride issue. Nobody's going to, people who are just graduating might be like, hey guys, I'm, only surviving on the bare skin of my teeth because my parents are supporting me, or, oh, I'm so glad that I had this $15 an hour job working as a glorified legal secretary, thanks to my spouse who currently also has a job so that, I can live. That's going on. I mean, you're single, you don't come from, if you're even just like lower to middle class, I mean, as I've said in other videos, you better have a game plan for that during the bar and after that bar, because if you don't have a means to support yourself, you don't have a way to get another type of job in the meantime, it could be pretty rough. And the people who tend to come out the best, and this is kind of sad, I'm not one of those people, but the people who come out the best are those who had working experience prior to going to law school. I went straight from undergrad to law school. But those who had working experience, especially those who had working experience in a law firm, they were legal secretaries, they're paralegals, stuff like that, who then go to law school, those are the people that are able to pick up those early jobs. Unless you have like a special connection or something like that, something that is outside yourself, friends or family, or something that you're active or known for, you're going to be toast. And it's sad, but that's just the case for a lot of people. So now this may not apply to a lot who are, of course, still in the wealthy bracket where it's like, whatever, everybody's that thing. But for most people, they're like, oh, I wonder what I should do with my life. As I personally believe, this is a made-up statistic. I'm totally admitting that, but this is just my subjective, qualitative experience that 90% of applicants to law school shouldn't go. And even then, those who do go, several out of 10, maybe 2 to 3, will end up regretting it or being like, whatever. You know what I mean? They're not as happy as they could have been. Just food for thought, and that portion of me knowing that comes from having a professor who did lots of research in attorney satisfaction. Actually, has books and pamphlets and goes to speak on it. So that's my background as to why I know a little bit about that. All right, this is long-winded, but things to think about. Take care, everyone. Talk to you soon.